Hello everyone, welcome to this video about some really cool chords that Django used on 251s. I took this from different songs, but mainly from the recordings that Django made in Rome, because that's a project, or those are recordings that are filled with Django's most brilliant ideas, both for solos and for chords, reharmonizations, voicings. And these are some 251s that he plays during solos of Grappelli. So during the violin solos, while the piano is just playing the normal chords, he's superimposing these chords over the 251s. And you could do the same. It doesn't necessarily have to be with a piano player. In fact, if you have a rhythm guitar player, it's even better, because the rhythm guitar player mostly has a rhythmical function, and the beauty of the harmony can come from you as a lead player playing these chords. So I've selected a few 251s, and if I remember, I will tell you from which recordings or from which song. So the first one is from, I think it's from Begin to Begin. It's in C, and at one point there's a 251 in B flat. So C minor 7, F7, B flat. So I put a backing track or a loop in A. So we're gonna do everything in the key of A. So then it would be B minor, E7, A. So on B minor 7, he just plays a regular B minor 7 voicing, whatever voicing you want. But then on the F7, he plays this voicing, which would be a B flat 7 sharp 9. But it doesn't matter, it's just a cool sound on guitar. It's a tricky chord to play if you're not used to play the typical gypsy jazz voicings, where often you have to press two adjacent strings with one finger. So in this one, the way I play it with a thumb, I think you could play it without a thumb, like this. But it's more difficult for me, because then I have to play two adjacent strings with my third finger. For me, it's easier to do with the second finger. So I play a thumb, and then both the E and the D string with my second finger, and then first finger, and then with my pinky, the high B and E string. So maybe you already knew this chords, but the nice thing is that on the one chord, the A chord, he just shifts his chord down and first plays this chord. So now it would be A7 sharp 9 before he goes to A6. So you get this sound. And he plays this chord on B3. He doesn't go play it on the 1. So you hear the rhythm section play. Based on B3. And the way you can play the B flat, you can do it with a tremolo, like I did in the beginning. I played. Or you could play something rhythmical, like something that's a typical Django thing to do. Something like that. So let me play with a backing track, and I'll play it several ways. I play some tremolos, I play some rhythmical stuff, but always on the one chord I will do 1, 2, 3. Super cool sound, and it's really typical Django. You would never hear a modern jazz player do this, even though it sounds awesome. And there are some conflicts with the bass, maybe, because the bass might play an E on the E7 and you're playing, so there would be this F there. But you know, it's such a powerful chord, such a powerful sound, that it doesn't really matter. The clash makes it even more special. Of course, if there wouldn't be a clash, it's no fun. But now, this is a real statement, and it fits perfectly with any line that the violin player might play on this E7. Don't worry about that. It's just a sound that you're projecting on that chord progression, the 2-5 in A. Okay, the next one I took from What a Difference a Day Makes, and they play that in G, but I transposed it again to A, and it sounds like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. And before I explain that, let me explain to you where I think Django got this. I think he maybe got this from the piano players at the time, maybe even the piano player that he recorded with in Rome, because a common trick that piano players would do in that area, in that time of jazz, was something like this. Some people still do it, but it's kind of an old-fashioned swing sound. So what that is it's playing B minor, and then G with a B in the bass, to E7. And what that basically means is that you get this moving note, that note that goes from F sharp to G sharp. Right, so they play B minor to E7. And you could do that on guitar, it's a beautiful sound. You just play... Great. But then Django, he took that to the extreme, and instead of playing the G with the B in the bass like this, he just started playing this kind of power chord G. It's not really a power chord because he still would play the third, but the emphasis is really on this, on those lower 3 strings, like a power chord. So he would play instead of right, G 2, he would play E with a G sharp in the bass, because that would resolve nicely. So on the B minor, he would play 2 bars of B minor, 2 bars of G, 2 beats of G, and then going to E with a G sharp in the bass, and then going to a normal E7. Okay, and just do it with long chords. Just. Let me play it with the backing track. Now, like a piano player, both very nice. Now the next one is a variation on this. He does that in What a Difference a Day Makes again. In one point, in fact, he skips even the B minor. He just goes to G immediately. So it's F in that recording because they play it in G, right? But if it would be in A, he's instead of playing, he just plays 3, 4, and then he does a nice thing. He does, yeah. But I changed it to just starting with B minor. So the beginning is the same. B minor to G, to E with a G sharp in the bass. And then he wants to go to this chord, which in the key of A would be A diminished, or it would be a D sharp diminished. Because he knows that if the rhythm section would play the 1 chord, A, it's very nice tension to play a D sharp diminished to resolve, right? So let's say I would play with normal voicings, you get... So an inversion of this D sharp diminished would be here. Right, the D sharp is... We could also call it the A diminished, it's the same chord. It's easier to remember if we're in the key of A, I need to play an A diminished. And then he hits that chord on the 1 of the rhythm section playing in A, and then he would resolve it on beat 3 to A with his C sharp. So of course he figured on guitar, like I could just slide up chromatically with these 3-note chords to this A diminished and then resolve it. And it's a beautiful kind of magical sound. It wouldn't fit with every theme, but you could always play this in solos. It's just moving chords, and it creates a lot of depth in the harmony. Instead of these static chords that change every first beat of a bar, you get this like tapestry of moving harmony. Beautiful. Let me play it with the backing track. Like with normal chords. Great. And then the next one comes from Begin to Begin again, and at one point it goes to F, and it goes to E minor, D minor. So you get two fives in a row: E minor, A7, D minor, G7 to C. And on the F, by the way, he plays this chord, which is just a D minor 7, but it's a beautiful sound on the F. Well, that's for another time. Okay, so on this E minor chord, he plays this chord to A7, to D minor, to G7. So we can get two 5s from this. So the first one is on E minor, A7, this one. Of course, it's a beautiful open chords, but we want to be able to play it on every 2/5, so I transpose it to A. So then on B minor, it would be, it's just a normal B minor 7 voicing, 4-string, 4-note voicing. It's nice if you roll it a bit, like, now don't play it, just play. And then go to this voicing, which is a E7, flat 5, E7 flat 5. Typical Django sound, those augmented chords. To A. And then on A I played this, which is a typical Django thing that he did throughout his whole recording career. So I combined it and you get this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry. Beautiful. And that second chord, you could just roll it or you could play it rhythmically, like Okay, let me play it with the backing track. Great, and then the other one that he plays right after it, he plays D minor 7, which is just a voicing for F6 without bass. 2. And if you've played Gypsy Jazz for some time, you already know about this chord. But I've heard many people give it the wrong name. Now, of course, we don't care about names, but if you want to explain it to someone, it's nice if you know the right name. So on D minor 7, Django plays a voicing for F6. So this, the middle 4 strings. So you could play this, of course, for every minor chord. If you want to play this on B minor 7, you just play a D6. And the easiest way to remember it is that the top note is actually the root of the minor chord. So in this case, the top note is a D, and we're playing D minor 7. So if the top note is a B, we're playing B minor 7. And then we go to this chord. And I've heard people call it an E7 with the flat 9 in the bass, but that makes no sense. We can never put a 9 in the bass and still call it an E chord. So in this case, the root is actually this note. It's a B flat, and the F that I'm playing on top of it is just a fifth. I'm doubling, and then so this is a B flat 7 sharp 9. It's the same sound as the one in the first 251. But now you have two ways of playing it, because you can always keep the progression kind of low, because this high, it's not comfortable to play, and also it doesn't sound the best. But since I have a backing track in A, let's keep it like that. So I'm just gonna play D6, B flat 7 sharp 9 with a doubled two strings with one finger to A. Let's try it. There you go. 3, or was it 4? A couple of really nice 2-5-1s that you can use, especially nice in ballads, but you could use it everywhere. Just remember, don't overdo it. Don't start playing this 1-2-5 that you like every 2-5, because that would actually kind of ruin the special sound you can create with these 2-5s. You have to just use it sparingly. And Django just changed between all the different possibilities. And of course, there's many more ways of playing it, and I'll go into other ways in later videos. But for now, start using these ones. As always, if you like the videos, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, that helps me out. And if you feel like you want to do some more, you can always support me on Patreon, but only do it if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, just enjoy the videos for free. But you can always take a look at my Patreon page. It's all linked under the video, the Patreon, the subscribe button is there, and I see you guys in later videos. Bye!